My name is Jacqueline Pollauf, and today's video is the first in a short series about moving harps. Now, I find that many people are quite nervous about moving their harp, especially if they haven't done it much. But as with so many things, the more you move a harp, generally the more comfortable you become and the easier it becomes. So I wanted to make this short series to really cover the topic in depth very thoroughly and share my best skills when it comes to harp moving. And today's video is all about covering and uncovering harps, which is really a preparatory step, so there's not going to be much moving today. It's just how best to get your harp in and out of its covers. And as you can see, I have 3 different harps with me in very different sizes, 2 lever harps and a pedal harp. And all 3 of these harps also use slightly different covers. So I'm hopeful that by showing the 3 different sizes of harps with the 3 different types of covers, that will really cover the gamut of whatever type of harp and type of cover you might have at home. And of course, if you know exactly what you have, for example, if you have a pedal harp with a 3-piece cover set, you can just jump directly to that portion of the video and not watch the whole thing. But if you're brand new to the topic or aren't quite sure what you have, you might watch the whole video and just get a broad range of ideas about the topic. So here we have a Heartland Lyra harp, which is obviously a very small instrument and quite cute too, I think. This harp is about 30 inches tall or 76 centimeters, and it just weighs 9 or 10 pounds or around 4 kilograms. So putting a harp this size in its cover is very straightforward. And we're going to start with the first step that you would have for any lever harp, which is to make sure all of your levers are down or disengaged. You never want any levers up when moving a lever harp because they could get caught in the moving process and twisted or moved out of place. And then the cover for this harp is all one piece. This cover surrounds the harp completely, just like a little bag. And so all we're going to do is open it up like so, and then we're going to lay the harp down in it on the back of the harp. Whoops. And you just kind of wiggle it into place. And once it fits in there, then you can bring up the sides like so, and then zip it up. And there is the harp all in its cover. Now, many larger lever harps have this same type of cover, kind of a bag cover for the harp. And I think they're quite nice because the harp is so well protected in these. But sometimes it's really a challenge to put the harp into the cover. Sometimes it seems like the cover is pretty much the same size as the harp without a lot of excess room. And so it really can be a tight squeeze to fit the harp in. So these types of covers are always designed to go just one way on the harp. Obviously it matches the shape of the harp quite exactly. But there are different ways that you can put the harp into the cover. There's the way I just showed you, but another common way is you can put the harp in kind of on its side. So if we lay the cover like that, and then we're going to lay the harp in also like this. If you're doing this side approach, it's always important to keep in mind where your levers are, because you want your levers to be face up. You never want to put your levers toward the ground and risk any damage to your levers. So you could just slide the harp in like this from the side and then zip it up. That works quite well. Or another option is that you could have the harp remain more in a standing position and then also put your cover in more of a standing position. Let me see if I can hold all of this simultaneously. So that you would be kind of setting the harp in like this on the bottom of the cover and then bringing the cover up and around the harp like so and zipping it from there. So with this type of cover, as long as you have the harp securely in the cover and you're keeping in mind where your levers are so that you're not risking damaging them, there's a lot of different ways that you can put the harp inside a bag. Uncovering this harp is a pretty simple matter. We're just going to make sure that it's in a nice stable position, and then we'll go ahead and unzip it and then kind of peel away the sides, and then you can just pull your harp out like so. Here we have a Lion and Healy troubadour, which is obviously quite a bit larger than our last lever harp, but still a lever harp nonetheless. This one is around 65 inches tall, or about 5.5 feet, 166 centimeters. And it weighs significantly more than the last harp. This is around 38 pounds, or 17 kilograms. Since I am American, the metric system does not come that naturally to me, but I looked that all up and hopefully I did the conversions properly. So as with any lever harp, the first step is just to put the levers down to make sure that they're all disengaged, like so. And then the cover for this harp is a little bit different, although this again is a very standard harp cover. You can see that it's in the shape of the harp, but it does not completely enclose the harp. The bottom is open. There's no covering for the bottom of the harp. And then this here is an opening that can be Velcroed shut just to assist with getting the cover onto the harp. And the way this type of cover works is almost always that Velcro opening or zipper opening is aligns with the column of the harp. So then you want to come from the opposite side, from the back of the harp, and just kind of walk the cover forward to put it on the harp. So we'll make sure that it's all opened up and then come around like so and lift it up and over the column there and settle it down. And then after that, I'm going to come around and just Velcro it on this side, making sure that it's all nicely fastened. And now the harp is all covered. So now to uncover the harp, obviously we're just going to reverse the process. So first I'll undo the Velcro, like so. And then the important thing to remember when you're taking the cover off is that first you need to go up and then you pull it back. So this opening here needs to come up above the top of the harp in order to successfully remove the cover. So if we go straight up and then pull it back like so, you have the cover off the harp. And hopefully I made that look pretty easy, but I have seen many young harpists get tangled up trying to cover and uncover a harp like this. So hence all of the explanations. And then one last small detail, which is what to do with the cover at this point if you want to put it away or have it be tidied up. It's kind of an awkward shape and size. I find the easiest thing to do is if you fold it lengthwise first, like so, and then you can fold it again a couple of times like that, and then you have a much smaller bundle to put away. So now we have a Lion & Healy Style 30, which is a full-size pedal harp. This is 73 inches tall, around 6 feet, or 185 centimeters, and it weighs 81 pounds or 37 kilograms. So obviously it's quite large. And the covers that I have for this harp are a 3-piece set, which is quite standard for pedal harps. Well, of course, there are many variations. So I have a column cover, which goes along the column. Then I have a base cover for around the base of the harp. And then finally the overall cover. And people put these covers on in different orders. Generally, I put the base cover on first, then the column cover, and finally this cover. So that's how I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Now the first step to moving a pedal harp is to check the position of the pedals, the same way that we kept checking the positions of the levers on a lever harp. So on a pedal harp, two things need to happen with the pedals. First of all, the pedals need to be in flat, the topmost position, which is where you would have them anytime you're not playing. And then secondly, you need to fold the pedals up like so. And you can either use your foot for that or your hand for that. And the primary reason for folding the pedals flat like this is so that they don't stick out and become damaged in any way while moving the harp. And because pedal harps are designed to be moved with the pedals flat like this, there's a couple of other reasons. One is that your harp will not fit in a base cover unless the pedals are folded flat. And similarly, your harp will not fit properly on any kind of harp cart or dolly unless the pedals are folded flat. And this folded flat position is only used for moving the harp. If you're not moving your harp, you do not need to use this position of the pedals otherwise. So here we have the base cover. And the way it works is this canvas part goes underneath the harp, and then all of the padded part wraps around the base of the harp. And that protects everything really well, which is very important for a pedal harp. Now on a lever harp, generally the base of the harp is a solid piece of wood. But that's not the case on a pedal harp. Instead, there's an opening down below underneath everything so that you can access the pedals. And if you're moving the harp, obviously you don't want anything to get up into that opening and interfere with the pedals or the springs or anything down there. So that's why bass covers are so common for pedal harps. And the principle behind this is quite straightforward. You could just set it like so, and if you had the strength, you could lift the entire harp up, walk it over and set it back down onto the bass cover, and you would be all set. But many people, including me, do not have the strength for that. So instead, I do what most harpists do, and I put the bass cover on in steps. Now, there's a lot of different types of bass covers out there. Generally, you can tell which way they go with the harp because of this extra piece here. This is designed to go up on around the front of the harp. So I'm going to open this cover up like so. And then you put the closed part on first. So I'll come from the back like this and sort of get it into position so you can see that it's lined up well with the harp. It's all set. And then what you do is if you tip the harp forward quite a ways, further than you think you should, you can use your foot and just nudge the cover most of the way under. And now the back feet of the harp are on the cover. Then you can tip your harp the other way so that the front feet are up and kind of walk it back onto the cover and make sure that the entire harp is sitting on the canvas piece. Then if you come around to the other side, you can close this flap up, and then there's both a zipper at the bottom of it and a buckle as well. So that's how you put this bass cover on. As I mentioned, some bass covers work a little differently, so you might need to come from the front, do that piece first, and then wiggle around the back. But the principle is the same, that you put the 2 feet, either the front or the back, on to begin with, and then you wiggle the other 2 feet on as well. Putting the column cover on the harp is quite easy. There is an opening, a Velcro opening here, and this should go in towards the strings of the harp. So if you come from the opposite direction, and then you just seal it up inside here, then your column cover is all set. And then next we're going to do the final cover, this large cover. And just like with the troubadour, the opening here should go on the column. So we'll come from the other direction. We'll start back here and just sort of walk this cover forward, lifting it up and over the column, and then kind of nestling it down a little bit. And then this one has both a zipper and then also Velcro on top of that. So then your harp is very securely covered. So now I'll remove the covers in the reverse order that I put them on. So first I'll take off the big cover, then the column cover, and finally the bass cover. So to take off the big cover here, first I'm just going to unvelcro it, and then I'm going to go ahead and unzip it. And then similar to the other cover, first I'm going to lift up and then pull it back to take it off. So we give it a bit of a boost and then bring it back this way. And you can fold this cover sort of, first lengthwise and then horizontally, and that makes it a bit easier to manage. And then for the column cover here, I will just unvelcro it and lift it right off like so. And finally, we're ready to remove the bass cover for our last step. So I'm going to unbuckle it here and then unzip it, and then I can open up this entire front section. And then we're just going to reverse what we did before. So first we want the front feet, these feet here, to be off of the canvas. So to do that, I'm going to tip them up a bit and then walk or wiggle the harp forward and set the front feet well clear of the canvas. You'll also notice throughout that I had my foot here to hold the bass cover steady so it didn't get caught up in all the wiggling. And then at this point, I'm going to tip the entire harp forward, again, further than you think you need to tip. And then I'll use my foot to slide the bass cover out from under the harp. As a final step to uncovering your pedal harp, you want to fold all 7 of the pedals down so they are back into their playing position. One question that I'm asked fairly often is when the harp needs to be covered. And there is some personal preference to this. For myself, I cover my harps anytime I'm going to take them outside of my home. But when they're in my home, I leave them uncovered. And I like to do that because I practice a lot, so that way I can just walk right in and sit down and start playing without having to cover and uncover the harp every time. Some people do like to keep their harps covered inside their home. I think this is especially a good idea if you have, say, a large dog or maybe some really active young children, and there's a chance that the harp could get bumped or pushed up against the wall. Then the covering will really help protect it from scratches and dents. And then I follow kind of a similar procedure for myself when I'm outside my home. For example, I might transport my harp covered to a building, and maybe there I'm rehearsing in one room but performing in a stage in a separate part of the building. Generally, I'll leave it uncovered when moving from the rehearsal room to the stage, but some people would go ahead and recover it in that situation. So a lot of it just comes down to what you're most comfortable with and evaluating how high the risk is that the harp could be bumped or shoved around a bit. So I hope that you're feeling more comfortable and confident about covering and uncovering your harp. Thanks so much for watching.